saints and the Most High. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We the saints of the Most High. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua.
All praise to the Most High. See these saints, we don't move like most guys. The light here so I can step with closed eyes and still see the enemy coming from both sides. Come to the saints and get sanctified. You ain't holy if you ain't got a saint to ride. I'm a saint for death and a saint for life. So it was probably the same in my ancient life. I was a man of sin that paid the price and still owe. So I'm trying to get my wages right. This for the masses. Yahweh been kicking our asses, cause we're the children of Israel, if you ask us.
We the saints and the Most High. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We the saints of the Most High. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We the saints and the Most High. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We the saints of the Most High. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Well, and we them saints that sing a new song. It's our people dying every time we turn the news on. It's our people wearing capes, getting their coon on. For the ones who took it on, never putting you on. See, we dealing with the Stockholm syndrome. Talking to my people when they not gonna listen. They listen to these crackers, they got no wisdom, got no flavor.
Shabbat Shalawam, Shabbat Shalawam. Let's give all praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Father, Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushai. Thank you for tuning in. For those that are tuned in, all of the Ahchyam, the Ahchwathyam, brothers and sisters, to the four corners of the earth, thank you once again for tuning in. Please do me a favor. Hit that like, subscribe, share. Please hit that like. That will help this message continue to go out into the algorithm, build up the people, edify the people. We can't do it without you, so it's very important that you hit that like button and subscribe. We have a very good lesson here today on this beautiful Shabbat day, Feast of Tabernacles. Instead of just going into that like we always do, I wanted to kind of touch on something that we spoke on last week, which is about the dry bones, right? In the book of Ezekiel. If you don't remember, the brother Philip last weekend spoke and said, you know, for those who watched that video, he encouraged you to go back and read the book of Ezekiel. I don't know if you did that, but if you did, one of the big things in there, so many things in there, but one of the big things in there is where it speaks about that valley of dry bones. And we kind of just wanted to touch on that a little bit on this beautiful Shabbat day. So that's where we'll be speaking at. That's where we'll be going into today. And that's all I got right now. Go ahead, Brother Philip.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Pray everyone is doing well. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Real quick, if you guys can let us know how the audio sounds, how the videos looks. Just want to make sure that everything's running well before we jump in. Do you want to just leave us a 1 in the comment to let us know that it's good? And but again, the water for tuning in. And all right, all praises. Jenny Wood, audio and video is good. So with that being said, I don't have much more to say. Let's jump in.
Con. Now we're going to touch on a multitude of different verses and scriptures just to establish and then open it up and try to go into and explain as much as we can and emphasize on things as much as we can to give some type of insight, not only for you guys, but as I always think, as we continue to read and learn and you go back over things, you see things that you never saw before. So it's, you know, it's an experience for all of us, you know. So at this present time, I just want to first I want to bring up this. Let me see. Let me share my screen. And let me see. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before we actually dive into the actual scriptures, I just want to read this real quick so we can establish this before we actually get started.
I can read it out.
Go, yeah, Karen. That's what I meant, Karen.
Okay. So what is the resurrection in the Bible? The resurrection is the promise all believers in Christ or Hamashiach, cling to. One day, all who have died in Hamashiach will be resurrected and given a new life.
Salakia. Now, right here is a very important part. The first part, it says the resurrection is the promise all believers in Christ cling to. It doesn't say that's what it is. It says that's what they cling to. So you have to understand where this was written. This valley of dry bones was written in the book of Ezekiel, right? We would call that the Old Testament, the Tanakh, you know. So what you say, Ak?
Oh, the prophets.
The prophets. Thank you. So when you read those things, the prophets, the writings, the Torah, when you put all those things together and you read those things, who is those promises given to? Right? The New Testament wasn't written yet. There was no such thing as a New Testament. But yet here it says the resurrection is the promise all believers in Hamashiach, in Christ, cling to. Well, that was promised way before. So who told everybody to put their trust in this resurrection? What is this resurrection for? Why is there a resurrection? So there's a lot of different outlooks on why we need to go into this to shed light so people get this understanding. And they may not even know about the Valley of Dry Bones. They may have never heard of it because a lot of people don't read the Old Testament. They only read the New Testament. Go ahead and finish that off.
Fine. It's also important to note that whenever people were resurrected in the Bible, they didn't talk about what heaven was like. This is because they hadn't been there yet.
But yet when you go to the church on a funeral, they say your auntie is in heaven, or your mother is in heaven, or whoever that funeral may be for that day, right? They say they looking up. The pastor, bishop, priest, they'll look up at the sky and say, we looking up them and they're in heaven. I'm glad to see right here it tells you that nobody is in heaven, right? Your mother, your grandmother, your father, nobody's in heaven. So that's a great thing for people to know too. So let's dive in. Go ahead.
If I can say something.
For
the very few funerals I've been to, a lot of times they'll bring out scriptures like John 14:2, where it says there's many mansions in my Father's house, with the interpretation or breakdown, with leading us to believe that those that have passed are literally in that mansion, residing with the Most High Hamashiach. So I've seen things like that and have been told things like that, and at one point in time believed things like that. But as we clearly see right here, it says they didn't talk about what it was like up there.
So before we dive deep into it, I'm just going to pull some verses. We just going to hit some verses real quick, and then we'll kind of dive into it. You know, we'll go into the shallow, and then we'll kind of creep on into, 5th, 6th, 7 feet, right? So let's just pull some scriptures. So let's go to the Blue Letter Bible. Let me stop sharing that. And let me just go to the Blue Letter Bible. And one of the first ones we'll pull is Matthew 5:5, right? We'll just go to that. Right. Let's do that. Matthew 5. Start off in the new, right? Actually, let's start at 3. And we'll just read to 5. 3 to 5. Because we just gonna keep moving.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 3. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Barak, or blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
Now, as time goes on, and we go throughout the lesson, I want you to take this and put this in your mind. Matthew chapter 5, verse 5, right? Matthew chapter 5, verse 5. It says, blessed are the meek. Those are people that are humble. Those are the people that are righteous. Those are people that have kneeled the knee and bowed their knee to who? Hamashiach Yahushai and to the Father, right? They have put themselves under subjection to them, right? So it says, blessed are the meek. Second part, for they shall inherit the earth. So we know this has not happened yet because the meek or the righteous do not control the earth, but they shall. You shall inherit it one day, right? This is what it's letting you know. So let's touch on a few more, and then we'll dive into some scriptures to where we can get some more understanding, right? Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12, and we'll start at 1, and we're just going to read to about 4, I believe. As you can see it on the screen, it says the time of the end. And that's kind of what we're speaking about today, you know, that resurrection, that valley of the dry bones, the end times, right? When everything is starting to manifest itself. Go ahead.
The book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them that slept in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Oh, Salakia.
No, that's fine. I pulled the trigger a little early, but I wanted to stop it too. And the reason I want to stop there is because a lot of times people don't realize that. Let's get this last part right here. I just highlighted from right there, right?
Okay. Some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
So there's two. We see there's two. Just because you're resurrected doesn't mean that you're resurrected to everlasting life, living with Hamashiach Yahushai and the Most High. You may be resurrected to what? Everlasting contempt. What does contempt mean? No, it doesn't mean comfortability. Content. No, I'm sorry. I did say content. Did I say content?
No, I heard wrong.
Okay. It's contempt. Yeah. TEMPT. You know what that word means? It's okay to look it up. I would rather for you to look it up and put it in your memory box and for you to know than not know. CONTE.
I know how to spell it.
Okay.
The feeling that a person or thing is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn.
In the Bible, it says an attitude of scornful disdain and disrespect, whether directed towards Allah, His commandments, or other people.
Scorn. Disrespect. Whether it's towards the Most High or somebody else. And this is what you will be into an everlasting thing, right? So it's not being in a happy place, not being in a good place. This is way back in Daniel, and this is what I'm saying. This is why it's important for us to go back and read, because this is way back in Daniel that he's getting these prophecies. He's getting this information, right? Many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. He's speaking about that resurrection. Some to everlasting life and some to what? Shame. Some are going to be ashamed. Verse 3.
Verse 3. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever.
Salakia. Now, why are they going to shine? Why are they going to shine? Brightness. That brightness represents what? The light from the Father, the righteousness. That's why they're going to shine forth. This is why, like in other places, one of my favorite ones, it says, if you take this in, that you will be illuminated, right? You will start to shine. This is why it says in the New Testament, let your light shine before who? The world. Nobody lights a candle and hides it under a table. They put it on what? The mantle, so it can light the whole room. This is why you're going to shine like this brightness. Just like Moses when he went into the Most High. And that brightness came upon him to where when he left his presence, his face shined. So many different things that is letting us know that the brilliance of the Most High, how it's going to impact those individuals, those people. Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
And right now, the last part, knowledge has increased, and it's going to increase even more. But as you can see right now, for those who are tuning in or may tune in later, we're on this screen. We're able to pull up the actual Bible on the internet, on the screen, go into things, go into the Hebrew, go into the words. I mean, knowledge has increased from having to go to the library to get these actual things, documents, things that we need, to where it's at the drop of a hand. We can pull up anything that we need to pull up right now and kind of go into it, break it down, separate it. Like, knowledge has increased to where, as it says, is running to and fro. It's going real fast. But what I want to focus on right here is it says, and seal the book. Why has he been told to seal this? But thou, O Daniel, shut up these words, meaning don't tell too many people. Don't tell nobody, really, and seal the book. Seal it. Don't relay this. Seal it. Even to the time of what? What does it say right there? Even to the time of what?
The end.
But yet we're reading it. We have it on the screen. So is it the end? It says even to the time of the end. So you're supposed to hold this, seal it, even when it's the end. But yeah, we've had this scriptures, these verses, for how long? Thousands of years, hundreds of years. So how far in the end are we? How close are we to this time? Many shall run to and fro, back and forth, and knowledge shall be increased. As we just spoke about, knowledge has increased so much to where I didn't know anything about these things growing up. Not saying that, of course, people did know. But now look at how the children are getting this information as they're born, not only when they're born, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to young adults, teenagers. And they're getting this information already, which is showing you that the knowledge is increasing, and he's putting it in our what? Children now. In all praises to the Most High, we don't know how lives will turn out, but they will put it in their children. And they will put it in their children. This is what it says, from generation to generation. Just because you feed that child, just because you give them this food, if you have a multitude of kids, yeah, all of them may not take it, But it may be one to take it. It may be two to take it. And that's who it's for, because it says many, a call, but hey, not everybody's going to be saved, and we have to understand that as parents, as people, as ambassadors of Hamashiach Yahushai. You just have to do your part. So let's move on. But I just wanted to, anything you got to say on this, Ak, from all these right here?
It's like it. If I just touch on 4 a little bit,
Car.
just as you were bringing that out, it came to mind. It's astonishing in a good way, but how easy it is to have information to the world, right? Whether that be the scriptures in our hand through an app, through YouTube, listening to the audio itself, being able to look up certain things, like, for instance, the Declaration of Independence, the national anthem, things like that we try to break down and explain to the people that were never meant for us. But it is crazy how that thing is within a arm's reach, within arm's reach, how crazy that is. So for those who say the Bible isn't real, I pray you repent and read scriptures like this just to understand what time we're in.
Well, one thing we always have to realize is and I had to come to this realization. People are always, just like they did then, people are always going to say the Bible is not real, the Bible is false, there is nobody named Jesus, there is no Christ, there is no God, there is no power in the sky. There's always going to be naysayers, right? What I come to the conclusion is this is why you have to have what? Faith. This is why the book of Hebrews says what it says. Since you said that, let's just jump there real quick. Hebrews 11. And we're not going to get deep into it, but we just want to say this real quick. Hebrews 11:1. Go ahead and read that real quick up.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it, the elders obtain a good report. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of the Most High, so that the things which are seen were not made of the things which do appear.
So it's telling you from 1 to 3, right? The evidence of things not seen. The reason this world doesn't believe, whether it's the Bible, the Most High, Hamashiach, is because they can't see it. This is what science is. Like I said, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but this is what science is. The people love science because when you get into science, it's that they can prove it. So they think. They think they can prove what they come to their answer, basically. So this is why you have what is his name? Darwin. Yeah. And you have people that are agnostic and all of these different things because of science. This is where they get the Big Bang. Well, it couldn't have been the creation. It couldn't have been the Most High and his only begotten Son and angels that created the world. It couldn't be that. No. It has to be a Big Bang. And we evolved from tadpoles to this, to that in science, evolution. I can show you how we evolved over time, over millions of years. And I can prove it with science. And people believe in it. Right? People believe in it. But for believers, people that have faith, it says that we have faith in what? Something that's unseen. This is why you don't need idols. This is why you don't need a statue of something to bow down to kiss on to hold to. You don't need those things because we worship who? The Most High. And he is what? John 4 says that he is a spirit. He is a rakah. He is fire. So we worship the unseen things not seen, and we have faith on that. And if you can't put your faith in that, on something that's the unseen, then you will never truly believe in the Bible. You never truly believe in it. You know, you can't prove it to anybody by showing them. You can show them the word, you can teach the word, you can bring out the word, you can point in the Bible. But if they want to actually see, like Hamashiach Yahushua told them, you know, you're a generation of vipers. Right? You just vipers. I'm not going to show you anything. As they asked him, show us a sign. He said, I'm not going to show you anything. Nothing. If you don't believe, then don't believe. I'm not going to show you. And that's what they wanted. The people say, well, show us a sign. Moses showed us this. He gave us that. He said, I'm not showing you anything. But anyway, let's get back on topic about this dry bones, right? I just want to show that we have to have faith, right? And it's the evidence of what? Things that are not seen. So you're not going to see it. All these videos that you see people saying that they saw Jesus and they went to hell and came back, and that contradicts what the Bible says. It was a man that died. He wanted to send somebody to his brothers. What did Abraham say? No. If they don't believe the writings, Moses, the prophets, they won't believe somebody coming from the dead and telling them. They still gonna do. But yeah, you have people that shoot videos that say, I went to hell, I went to heaven, and I came back and I saw Jesus, and you know, and God was with me, and I felt so warm. And don't believe it. Don't believe it. The evidence of things not seen. Anyway, let's go back. Let's get a few more and we'll dive into it. Let me just get this last one, Isaiah 26, and then we'll go into some bigger scriptures. Isaiah 26 is where we're going to go real quick. Isaiah chapter 26. Let me see. I think I want to start at let me go down a little further. Let's start at 19. Isaiah chapter 26, and we'll start at verse 19. And we'll read to the end, 19 to 21.
Con, the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 19. Thy dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust. For thy dew is the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 21.
Now, what does indignation mean? Because if you don't know what indignation means, then what does it mean overpassed?
Anger.
Huh?
Anger.
No. Indignation. We have to know what that word means. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment. So where are you hiding yourself? In the ground. You covered in the dirt. You're hiding yourself. Your bones is down there.
Righteous anger or a strong displeasure stemming from a perception of injustice, sin, or wrongdoing.
Say that last part.
A strong displeasure stemming from a
Put indignation, Bible. Like, what does it mean in the Bible? Okay, go ahead, bring it out.
righteous anger or
Salakia, righteous anger. You was right out.
or a strong displeasure stemming from a perception of injustice,
Injustice,
sin,
or
wrongdoing.
A wrongdoing. That it what? Be what? Overpassed.
Righteous anger. So that it does not mean righteous anger. That means that it's anger that you should have towards that, or what?
Well,
It's saying righteous anger. I mean, I know it says you shouldn't be angry, but it's saying that's righteous anger. So
Well, when the Most High is angry, it's righteous anger.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, is that like people can have righteous anger?
Of course. Of course. Hamashiach Yahushua had righteous anger, didn't he? When he went in there and he got that, and he made that whip, and he was in the temple, and he was overturning the tables. I mean, he was angry. But it was righteous. Am I right? Am I right?
So basically, being angry at something, like it was saying, like people who are sinning and people who are doing things, like we have a right to be angry with them.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
All right.
You do. You do. Let's see what this one says.
I mean, it's explanatory. I just wanted to make sure I was thinking the right way.
It even says rage right here. Let me get the core word.
Well, yeah, that's what Hamashiach had when he was out there whipping the people at the temple. He was like, oh.
Yeah, it says to denounce. You can read it out if you want to. Outline biblical usage.
Outline of biblical usage. To denounce, express indignation, to be indignant, one of the others.
Indignant, I think it is.
To have indignation, be ignorant, be angry, be defiant, to be abhorrent, to express indignation in speech, denounce, curse.
A lot of people curse out there. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, nafal, to show indignation, show anger.
In that last part right here is Strong's definition where it says i.e., which is an example.
To be enraged, abhor, abominable, be angry, defy, have indignation. Overpassed.
Go ahead.
Outline of biblical usage. To pass over, by, or through. Alienate, bring, carry, do away, take away, transgress. To pass over, cross over.
Let me go down some. Let me see. So basically it's to cross over. That's what the primitive root is, to cross over, right? So when it's an overpass, it's saying to cross over. So let's read. So now we have that insight of what? Anger, wrath, enraged. When we think about until indignation, right? That it what? It passed over, right? When you look at it in that sense, read it again in verse 20.
Isaiah chapter 26, verse 20. Come, my people, enter into thy chambers, and shut the doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed.
So where are you going to hide yourself when it says, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers? Anybody? And shut the door about thee. Who is the door? Anybody out there in TV land? No, just who is the door? Hamashiach Yahushua is the door, right? Hello? You see the door?
Yes, hello.
Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until what? This anger, this enragement, until it what? Pass over. Go ahead, 21.
Verse 21. For behold, Yahweh coming out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity.
Now, what is this? For the Most High Yahweh is coming out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth. For what? Their iniquity. He's sending his son to punish the earth. Remember, I told you to remember Matthew 5:5, that the earth was supposed to be given into the who? The meek. But right here in Isaiah 26:21, it's saying that the Most High Yahweh is going to punish the inhabitants of the earth for what? Their iniquity.
So the people who live on the earth, he's punishing them.
He's going to punish them. Mm-hmm. Remember what we said, the resurrection. Well, not what we said, but what the scripture said. Some will be risen to the resurrection of what? Everlasting life, and the resurrection of what? What was that word? C-O-M-C-O-N-T, contempt, right? So this is a punishment. Out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquities. Go ahead.
Slakia. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain.
It won't cover the slain no more. What does it mean? What do you think it means, Ak, when it says the earth also shall disclose her blood?
For what I would interpret or imagine would be all the innocent blood that was shed will now be made visible, somewhat similar to Abel and Cain.
Con. That's exactly. I don't know. I still had that up there. That's exactly what it is. All of that blood that has been shed, it will disclose. All the way back to, like you said, that happened with Cain and Abel. And it said the blood cried out. When we read that in Genesis, right? When he asked him, he said, the blood is crying out to me. What have you done? So the blood has a what? A voice. Why? Because the life is in what? The blood. When it says disclose, let me see. Let's click on that. Because when you disclose something, you're giving information, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see that.
Right.
Where is this at? Disclose. To punish the inhabitants. Disclose right here. H1540. Let's see. To uncover.
Outline a biblical usage. To uncover, remove. To uncover, to remove, depart, to go into exile. Number 2, to uncover yourself.
So it's kind of like pulling the, as we would call, pulling the blanket back or pulling the wool back, or, basically showing what's been hidden. That's how I would look at it, right? You want to disclose something. And shall no more cover her what? Slain. Meaning the people that are killed, you're not going to cover them. What does it mean to cover them? So what, they won't go in the ground anymore? Because there will be no more death, so nobody's going to be buried in them anymore.
Salakia.
Go ahead.
This sounds like we're about to jump to what we're going to get to later. In Ezekiel 37. This sounds exactly like how we're about to bring out.
I want to see how this reads in a comparative text. Let me see. Look, Yahweh is coming from the Shemayim to punish the people of the earth for their sins. The earth will no longer hide those who have been killed. They will be brought out for all to see. And it's a lot of, when you think about it, especially some of them stories like, my family be watching, it's a lot of people that were never found. There's a lot of people that are deceased that are hid, that didn't have a burial, that were kidnapped, murdered, they never found a body. So there's, what I'm saying is, on the earth, there's a lot of people that are in the earth, wherever they are, that are deceased, that are hid for people that committed those type of crimes, right?
Salakia.
Go ahead.
I can say something?
Yeah.
For those that have been watching the news closely, what Ak just mentioned, I don't know if I want to call it famous because it's for all the wrong reasons, but there's a very high profile case going on right now with a mother and a father and what they did to their 7 to 9 month old child right now. For those that are aware, and just to make it brief and short, right now they're having charges against them for potential, allegedly, murder of their newborn baby, basically. and they still cannot find that child's body, even after a few weeks. So I just thought I'd bring it out because of what Ak just brought up. That baby's no, they can't work. They don't know where that baby's at. It didn't have the proper burial, and nobody knows where exactly to find it.
Right.
Not yet, at least.
That's sad because they can easily just tell them where.
Yeah, like she said, that's sad because they could tell them where it's buried because they know where is buried at.
I mean, they're caught already.
You know, but they don't want to give it up. So you think about as long as this earth has been here, this is what I mean, that there's a lot of bodies in the earth, whether buried in the ground, containers, storage container, whatever people do, you know, especially when they chop up pieces, them gangster movies where they throw you in the ocean. And listen, all that's going to come out when the resurrection comes. All that's going to come out. So this is what we kind of, like he said, we kind of going into. So I'm going to stop right there with those things. And now we're going to kind of dive a little bit deeper into there. Like he was saying, we're going to start to go to where we really want to go. Let's drop this and then go to the book of Baruch real quick. We're going to drop this and go to the book of Baruch, chapter 2. For those who don't know, this is in the 1611 King James Bible. We encourage you to get you a 1611 King James Bible. You need you one because of the books 14 that were taken out of the King James Bible. So there are really not 66 books in the canon. There are actually 80 books. I think it's 80. Yeah, 80 books in the canon. This is why if you have the 1611, you will get these extra books that the church took out. Right, in the 1611. If you can't afford it, let us know. We will help you get you one. And you always have the option to use it online as we are today. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 2. And we'll jump all the way. I believe I want to start at 27 and we're going to read down. The reason we're going here is because this is going to give us some insight, not only of the resurrection, but the things that we're going through in the very times that we live in now. Right, and that our children will live in, but this is a promise to us for that resurrection, to have faith in it. Go ahead.
The book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 27. O Yahweh, our Allah, thou hast dealt with us after thy goodness, and according to all thy great mercy of thine. And thou spakest by thy servant Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write the law before the children of Israel, saying, if you will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them.
So, as he just read, we're going into that this great multitude shall be turned into what? Small number among the nations, among other people of the world. Where he's going to what? Scatter them. This is why I always say when I come in to the video is what? Peace and blessings. Shalawam to what? The four corners of the earth. Why? Because we're scattered to the four corners of the earth. Everywhere. There's not a place that we have not been scattered. Go ahead. Sorry about that. Verse 30.
Verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
So we shouldn't take it to heart so much when our brothers and our sisters or the Ox and the Ahchwathyam don't really hearken or listen to us. Because as it says right here, and it's all throughout the Bible, that our people are very hard-headed, very stiff-necked, right? But the beautiful thing he's about to say here is in the land of their captivities, they shall remember who? Themselves. This is the very important part. Themselves. You will start to remember who you are. You're not Mexican, right? You're not African American. You're not all of these titles that they have given you. You are a child of the Most High. That's what you are. You're not a title that a man has given you. You're not even the actual person that as I would like to say, the name that your parent gave you. That's not who you are. That was a name that they thought of themselves and say, this is what I'm going to give to you before you were even born. So when are you going to look at yourself and know who you are? Everything that you are is what somebody has pushed upon you or given you. When are you going to become your own self? You know, sometimes when you read and you go into like ancient times, you know, and you read about when they had children, a lot of times they wouldn't even name the child until the child was actually born. They wanted to see the child before they actually gave it a name, because the name had a meaning behind it. We know this even when we read the Bible. When you go into who was it, John the Baptist, and they wanted to name him something else. Was that John?
It was, because it was like
Pops couldn't talk.
Yeah, he couldn't talk, and they was
right.
Like, why did they pick that name?
Why did they pick that name?
Yeah.
And then they asked the father, basically, or his dad, are you okay with that? You gonna allow that?
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because the Most High said name him this.
And not only that, it's more or less like, yeah, of course, everybody, well, a lot of guys want a junior or whatever, but that's really not like giving that child their own identity. That's
right.
Like giving them the identity of their father.
Right. I mean, we can look at this. David's name was David, right? King David. But his father's name was Jesse. It wasn't named David. David had a son. His name, and we know these are English terms, and we can go to the Hebrew, but his name was Solomon. Why wasn't he, or his other son was Absalom? Why wasn't he named King David Jr.? And then his other son, the third, or the second, and the fourth, and but when we look into so-called other nations of people, you have King Henry the First, and King Henry the Second, and King Henry the Third, and you have a question or a comment? Go ahead.
It's kind of both. Okay, so remember when you got the Sefer?
Remember when? Yeah.
And it has like their names.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of the names that, even though they were different names, like they ended in Yah. Right,
because they had
they're
go ahead.
Child of the Most High.
Child of the Most High, right.
So I feel like
but the name part of it meant something.
Well, the whole thing means something.
Right.
Because the name, it means whatever the name meant.
Right.
But
it pertained to the Most High.
It pertained to the Most High.
Correct.
Meaning that those was his children.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is, I feel like, of course, the Europeans and Esau, whoever,
infiltrated it.
They hijacked
right.
And did a little twist and made it on their own. We're going to give you my name and number it this many times, or we're going to give you a junior, or we're going to give you a senior, or like things like that. But in actuality, it's not. They kind of like how they say you are of your father. Like I feel like it's almost cursing them to be like their worldly father,
like their worldly dad. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And in some attributes, it is.
Yeah.
In some attributes, it is. So this is what I mean when you do that. When you do the research on it, like you were saying, those type of things were infiltrated to know about the names, because when we named our children, it was meaning behind it. When we named anybody, it was a meaning behind it. And most of the time, if not all of the time, there was a Yah behind it to let you know that those were children of the Most High, you know. So I just wanted to say that. Anything you got on that?
Yes, sir. Even the circumstance was a little different, but even Moses himself, his name was named after being drawn out of the water.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though that wasn't his parents per se, but that was a name that was given to him after birth.
Mm-hmm. Well, the very letter,
yeah.
The very letter, when you say it in the Hebrew, Mashah, right?
Oh.
The very letter M means what? Ma means water. When you go into the Hebrew letters in the Hebrew alphabet, right? The very MA means water, chaos. And believe me, he brought a lot. He was drawn out of the water, and he brought what? Chaos. He turned Egypt upside down. That's, you know, and that's why his words meant something. His name meant something. Those words meant something. You know, Aaron too. You know, or Haran in the Hebrew. You know, that A and the H and all those things mean something. But you're right, Ak. You're right. You know. Go ahead. I believe we had 31.
Khan, verse 31. And shall know that I am Yahweh their Allah, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sent me for Yahweh. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be masters of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their most high, and they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people out of Israel, out of the land that I have given them.
So right here at this end, 34, 35, he says he's going to bring them into the land, right? Which I promised with an oath. That oath, that covenant to who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We have a new covenant that he promised, right? Which goes into the last part of 35 when it says, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be what? Their Allah, which means power. And they shall be what? My people. And he lets us know that we won't have to go through any of this ever again in life. We will live in peace for eternity. How do we know? Because he says, I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given to them, meaning they will rest in that piece of land forever, and they won't have to worry about anything, right? So we went to a multitude of different things, but now we just going to go to Ezekiel chapter 37, and we still going to jump to a few other places, but let's read that so we can get the foundation of what it is that we've been speaking about here. So I'll jump out of that, and now we're just going to go to the book of Ezekiel, right? Once again, those that are tuning in, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. And I'm going to share my screen and go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 37. And we're going to read that all the way at the top from verse 1, right? For those who may not have never read it. Ezekiel chapter 37, and we'll start at verse 1. As you can see it on the screen, it says the vision of the valley of the dry bones. That's what this whole lesson is about. But I know I went around a few different places, but I wanted to establish that it's not just talking about it here. It's talking about it all throughout the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. You might say, well, where in Genesis is it talking about the resurrection or dry bones? Well, when Adam fell, it was decreed right there that Hamashiach Yahushai would have to come and save the people. Right then and there, it was decreed. If you know, for those who may know that, it's a lot of people who know that. But really, it was decreed before that, you know. But when he did, walk into that and do that, of course, it had to be done that Hamashiach had to come back and suffer for all his people, for the sins and everything that they committed. This is how sin came into the world through that transaction, right? So, make a long story short, we're going to go here. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 1.
Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 1. The hand of Yahweh was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of Yahweh, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. Verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Yahweh Allah, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh Allah unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Verse 9.
Salakia. So right here, it lets you know that the bones came together. We reading all this, and I don't want to interrupt too much so you can get the logistics of it. But the bones came together, right? The tendons and everything that keeps the bones together, which is the sinews, right? All that stuff to keep everything together. It came together. And it says, and the flesh came up upon them. So now it's not just bones anymore. Actual flesh covered the actual bones, and the skin covered them above. But there was no what? Breath in them. So you have an actual body that's formed, skin covering, everything there, formed, ready to go, but there's no life in it. There's just a vessel. It's just a shell sitting there, standing there. There's no life in it yet, right? Mind you, they were dry bones. They were dead. But he's saying, prophesy that I'm going to what? Resurrect you. I'm going to awake you. You're going to come back to life. But there was no breath in them. Go ahead, up.
Verse 9. Then he said unto me, Prophesy unto the wind. Prophesy, son of man. Say to the wind, Thus saith Yahweh Allah, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood up on their feet, an exceeding great army.
An exceeding what?
Great army.
Did most people know that the resurrection, that you're going to be an army? I mean, I just want you to know, it says an army. You have enlisted in what? An army. Whose army? Hamashiach Yahushua. In the army, even in this world now that you live in, when you enlist in the army, you are almost required to do what? Lay down your life. Go to war for who? Whoever it is that you're fighting for, who you enlisted for, whether it be America, Britain, China, right? When you go to the army, that's what you sign up for, to what? Lay down your life. It's the same thing. This is where they get it from. When you sign up to be a what? Believer in Hamashiach Yahushua, you lay down what? Your life. This is why he said there's no greater love than a man lay down his life. But you laying down your life for what? Righteousness, right? So I just want to make that clear, that it's showing that what? It's an exceeding great army. Now everything that was said, for those who never read this, it says the vision explained, right? So we're going to go into that. Verse 11, huh?
Verse 11. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel.
So hold on. We're gonna break this down bit by bit and piece by piece. So okay, nobody wiggle their way out of this. Okay, nobody. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones, everything that he's seen, them very, very dry bones, as it said, are who? The whole house of Israel. It didn't speak about anybody else. Okay? Remember what we read earlier, and that's why I wanted to read that. The first thing we read, it said what? Does anybody remember?
In regards to Matthew?
No. What the resurrection in the Bible, the resurrection is the promise all believers in Christ cling to, right? This is speaking about the resurrection right here. Nowhere does it say in here that all believers that just believe in Hamashiach or believe in Christ will be resurrected and saved. It doesn't say that here. It says those bones that you see resurrected, the ones that I put skin and blew life into and all that, listen, it's the whole house of who? Israel. Meaning he's going to what? Restore, bring back life to who? Israel. It's a metaphor. Yes, something is going to happen. There is going to be a resurrection, but the metaphor is to who? Israel, that I'm going to revive you. I'm going to give you those, what is it called? Resuscitate. Them little two things when the ambulance come and hit you, the little shock. I'm going to shock you and bring you back to life. Who? House of Israel. Go ahead.
Slack, if I can just add to that.
Please do.
As just like last week when we mentioned, it would have been useful for a lot of you brothers and sisters to read the book of Ezekiel in its entirety. Because just to back up what Octa said about this only applying to the nation of Israel or Yasharallah, in the chapters before and the chapters after, he goes into prophecies about the other nations and he refers to them directly. But as you can read right here, this isn't addressed to them. This is addressed to Yasharallah or Israel. So I just thought I'd add that in there just to show that, hey, this is being spoken to directly to the Israelites. Verse 11. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones are dry, and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts.
Therefore, what does all that mean? Hold on. What does all that mean? He said, behold, they say. So these bones, which is the house of Israel, right? They say our bones are what? Dry. And representing or a representation of what? Death. You have no life. Why? Because Israel went away from what? They went astray from the very word. Our bones are dry. It's in representation when we think about the trees that is spoken about in the Bible. When a tree is what? Withered, is dried up. What does it say? If you don't bring forth fruit, if you don't blossom, if you don't do things, it will do what? It'll wither away and it is going to die. And once it wither away, he said he's going to cast you where? He's going to gather all that stuff and cast it where? Into the fire. Right here is saying our bones are what? Dry. And our hope is what? Lost. They have no more hope. You can almost say they have no more faith. They have lost their faith. They have lost their hope. They have lost their trust in who? the Most High. We are cut off for our what? Parts. I want to click on that word parts just to kind of see, because sometimes they'll play with the words, but I want to make sure what I'm thinking is what it. Look at this. See what I mean? This is why it's important to go here. It just really says we are cut off. This part right here is just an annotation. It's just added on. Why is this added on? I can't even click on anything to see what's going on here. Like, why is this added on for our parts? Let me go into a this is what I mean sometimes in their translation. Let me just do a comparative text and see what it says right here.
Man, sheesh.
Our hope is lost and we ourselves are cut off. Well, that's what it says. Yeah. In the New King James, see, it just stops right there where it says cut off. Our hope is lost and we're just cut off. Our nation is finished. But in this part right here, it says we are cut off for our what? Parts. So basically, they just saying that they're cut off. And when, of course, when you go astray from the Most High, you're cut off. Is it a cut off forever? It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It's we who lead the Most High. It's not the Most High that leads us. But we're cut off for a period of time with the Most High because he's not going to continue to deal with you, and you're serving other idols or whatever it is that you're doing, worshiping other deities and things like that, like they were doing, especially like the Ak brought out earlier. You read the book of Ezekiel, it goes into great detail how they were worshiping other idols, praying to different things, turning their back on the Most High in the temple.
Also,
go ahead.
Defiling their neighbors' wives. Like I said, I pray you guys get a chance to read the whole entire Bible, but Ezekiel, man, that one, when I read that over and over again, man, it just opens my eyes every time. I feel like we're living right there. And I feel like Ezekiel should be here any minute telling us about this, the days of old. Just with how much it resembles today's time, right? But they were doing things like that, just like the Ak mentioned.
God. Let's go to 12.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 12. Therefore, prophesy and say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Allah, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel.
Now, when we read Baruch chapter 2, it says that he was going to do what? The last two verses we went over, I think it was 34 and 35, that we were going to do what? He was going to bring us into the land. He was going to make an everlasting covenant with us, and we wasn't going to have to worry about anything anymore. And here you see in Ezekiel 12, it says, therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Allah, behold, O my people. He's going into great detail right here. I will open your what? Graves. Cause you to come up out of your grave. This is a resurrection. Anytime somebody is in a grave and you come out the grave, that should be a resurrection. Not unless you was just playing or something like that. I don't know. And it says, and bring you into the land of where? Israel. So those people that are being resurrected, right, that are coming out of graves, they're going to be taken where? To Israel.
Back home.
That's where they're going to be taken to. Now, how are they going to be taken? A lot of, people got many of different avenues. They say how you're going to be taken. But one thing we know when we read the Bible is he says, no matter where you are, four corners of the earth, for the ones that are resurrected, the ones that are alive, they will still come together in what? go to Israel. Go ahead, verse 13.
Verse 13. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves.
So he's letting you know, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. So when you see these things, as the people back then were able to see some of these things, because when Hamashiach Yahushai was alive and being hung on the tree and crucified and all these different type of things, there are other people that came out the graves. We read about that. There are other people that came out of the grave. Now, they didn't stay long and they went back to the graves. He is the only one that rose and stayed rose. There are other people that did come out of their graves and walked around. They actually went to their families and different things, and people seen them that knew that these people had been dead for a period of time. Read 13 again for me, Aunt.
Verse 13. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. And I shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it, and performed it, saith Yahweh.
So these things, this resurrection, these things that are going to happen, is speaking about here, and it's telling about taking a people and placing them where? In their own land. The meek shall inherit the earth. The first thing we read was Matthew 5:5, right? The meek shall inherit the earth. We know it's going to be a resurrection for what? Everlasting life, and then those that are contempt. Let's go. Let's stop right here. We're gonna come back, of course, because this is our foundation, Ezekiel 37. But let's see what some of the other brothers had to say, Peter and Paul, to let you know that what we're reading here is the same thing that's spoken about in the New Testament. Because, you know, people like to say, well, that's the Old Testament, right? We're going to come back here and we're going to finish this off because it says a reunion of who? Judah and Israel. And this is a very important part right here. So I do want to come back and finish this, but I just want to move forward a little bit to the New Testament to kind of show you that our brothers then, Peter, Paul, James, all of them were speaking about the same thing that's written here, right? Let's go to Peter first. We'll go to 1 Peter. One. Let me see. You can start at 2.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 1, verse 2. Elect, according to the foreknowledge of the Most High, the Father, through sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, grace unto you and peace be multiplied.
And let me just say this. A lot of times people don't understand the very word that they don't understand the Bible because they don't break down what it's saying in front of them, right? As the Og just read that very beautifully, that it's according to what? A foreknowledge. How can you know something afore? It has to be planned out ahead of time. Right? Am I mistaken on that? Then it says, of Allah, the Father. For those people who get mad when you say Allah, it's just a title, which means power. Right? And if it was plural, it would be Elohayim. Or in a modern Yiddish type of way, you would say Elohim. But it's speaking about who? The Father right here. It's not speaking about the Son. For those people that say that they together and they're 3 in 1, it's not speaking about none of that. It's speaking only about who? The Father. Through sanctification of what? The Spirit. How were they going to be sanctified? Through what? The Spirit. Whose Spirit? The Most High Spirit. We just read that in where? Ezekiel, he said, I'm going to send my what? What did he say? You just read it. I'm going to send my what? Spirit. Even in there, in the resurrection, he's going to send a spirit, just as Peter is speaking about right here. Unto what? He needs to spend his, Salakia. He needs to send his spirit. Why? Peter lets us know unto what? Obedience. And the sprinkling of the blood of who? Yahawashi HaMashiach. So not only does he need to send his spirit, which we know and we call now to what? We call it to what? What do we call it? The spirit that was sent.
Comforter?
The comforter. The comforter, right? Why? Because it's called also the spirit of what? It's called the comforter and the spirit of what? Starts with a T. Truth, right? To lead us what? To obedience, as Peter is saying. But even in all of that, we still have to be what? Sprinkled with the blood of Yahawashi HaMashiach. Because we don't have the blood, we can have the spirit all we want. But if we don't have the blood, then we still won't be cleansed. And Peter's opening up this letter saying what? Grace unto you and peace be multiplied. Right? Shalawam. Verse 3,
Verse 3. Barak, or blessed be the Allah and Father of our Master, Yahawashi HaMashiach, which according to his abundant mercy hath begotten us again unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Yahawashi HaMashiach from the dead.
Salakia, right there. Let me see. Resurrection. Look at deep. Look how deep Peter is going in verse 3. Somebody might say, well, that's not deep. Maybe not to you. Blessed. Exalted. Exalted. Two ways we can look at blessed. Either to kneel or to be exalted. Either way, you're exalting someone. You're giving honor to someone. So exalted be the Allah and Father. Oh, but I thought they're together. I thought they were 3 in 1. This is a distinction right here. A separation. Peter is writing in a separate format to let you know, exalted be who? The Father of who? Our Master. Our Master. Yahawashi HaMashiach. No, they're not 3 in 1, 2 in 1, or 1 in 1. They are separate. And Peter is letting us know, exalted be the Father of our Master, Yahawashi HaMashiach, which according to his abundant mercy have begotten us again to what? A lively hope of what? The resurrection. Whose mercy? The Most High's mercy. That's the only reason why we have this resurrection of Yahawashi HaMashiach from the dead. Verse 4, watch this.
Verse 4. To an inheritance, incorruptible and undefiled, and that fadeth not away, reserved in the heaven for you.
It's reserved for us. To all. It's reserved. Incorruptible. Incorruptible means you cannot die. As we read earlier, the earth will not cover up its slain anymore. Why? Because there will be no more death. For those who have read the book of Revelation, it says death and hell, or the grave, was cast into what? The lake of fire. So there's no more of that. We'll just read 5 and stop right there, and then we'll move on to another one. Brother Paul, go ahead.
Verse 5. Who are kept by the power of Allah through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time.
And like I said, when is the last time? When? When is the end? It says, we read earlier that it will be ran to and fro, and knowledge shall what? Increase. In the book of Daniel, we read, it says, seal up this book. Don't let it even be known until what? The end. We're reading these things now. Even Peter, we're reading these things now. It says ready to be revealed in what? The last time. It's revealed. I mean, we know. Without a shadow of a doubt, we know. No matter what type of life we live, whether you listen, whether you think you righteous or whether you think you unrighteous, it does not matter. There is going to be a resurrection. How do we know that? Because you die. Everybody we know dies. There's nobody that's living right now that will be here. Well, I'll just clear it. 150 years from now, there's nobody alive right now. All of us will be dead and gone and put in the dirt. Let's get another one that Paul speaks about, Acts. Let's go to the book of Acts real quick. Acts chapter 24, and we'll start at about verse 14. Notice Peter spoke about the resurrection. Paul is speaking about the resurrection. All throughout the Bible, especially in the New Testament, this is what it's all about. Being resurrected, right? Go ahead. 14 to about 17 or 16.
The book of Acts, chapter 24, verse 14. But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I Allah of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets.
Salakia. Now, right here, 14, Paul is he's letting us know, and he's confessing, right? Letting us know that they were trying to say the way Paul worshiped, the way Paul believed, and what he thought, it was heresy, right? And these were other Jews that didn't necessarily believe in the foundation of Hamashiach Yahushai, right? Through traditions and things that were going on for a long period of time, right? You have to understand that now we don't need to go to a temple and to sacrifice and do certain things, rituals, because now we have a Savior that sacrificed himself once and for all. So those things were no longer needed anymore, right? Which will cause confrontation to people who don't feel like that. It's still like today that Hamashiach Yahushua could step in and feel that. Like they feel like they still have to go and do these ceremonial things for the Most High in order to stay in a good order, with him. So what Paul, Peter, James, Bartholomew, Matthew, Matthias, what all of our brothers was bringing forth, they were coming against a lot of, static, as I would say, conflict, because it was something different than the people have been known for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, right? So he's letting you know right here that after the way, which they call heresy, those other people that I'm speaking about, right? They're calling him that he's living in heresy. So worship I. So he's letting you know he worship who? The Most High, believing all things which are what? Written in the law and in the prophets. So Paul believed everything that was written in the Torah, the writings, the prophets. He believed in all of that. Verse 15.
Verse 15.
For anybody who say he didn't, and he thought that the law was done away with, and he preached that the law was, no. He says he what? Believed let me get it. Hold on, before we move to 15. Let me do comparative text for somebody. In the New King James, it says, "But this I confess to you, that according to the way which they call a sect, so I worship the Allah of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and the prophets." Same thing. New Living says, "But I admit that I follow the way which is called a coat." So they even said Paul was in a what? Coat. Same thing people say today, especially if you tell them you're an Israelite and you live a certain way. They'll say you in a what? Coat. Oh, you part of that coat, right? I worship the Most High of who? Our ancestors, which is Yahweh. The Allah, the power of who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? And I firmly believe the Jewish law, which is the 613 laws. It says Jewish right there, but we know it's the law. And then everything written in what? The prophets. So if he believes in that, he's not going to believe in it and then tell people don't keep it. And he's out here preaching or teaching. That would be crazy to say he believes in it and then he tells somebody like, "Oh no, you don't have to keep the law," but he believes in the law and he believes in the prophets. But he said, "No, you don't have to. Throw that Old Testament away. You don't need that." But yeah, he's saying right here he believes in it. So verse 15.
Verse 15. "And have hope toward the Most High, or Allah, which they themselves also allow, that there shall be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and unjust."
Once again, Paul is speaking about a resurrection of who? The dead. The righteous, which is the just, and the unrighteous, which are the unjust. What we read earlier. So when we go back and we think about what we read earlier in all those verses, Daniel, Ezekiel, all these things we've been reading, Isaiah, and it's speaking about resurrection, and it keeps talking about a resurrection for who? To everlasting, and some of those will be in what? Contempt. Paul is saying it in a way where we can clearly understand it, that is a resurrection of the dead, both for what? The righteous and the unrighteous, or the just and the unjust. Verse 16.
Verse 16. "And herein do I exercise myself, to have always a conscience void of offense towards the Most High and towards men."
Meaning now, what? Go ahead.
I was going to read on, sorry.
No. We're going to stop at 16. But what it's saying right there is that he wants a clear conscience. He wants a clear conscience against who? The Most High and against man. He don't want to be going against the Most High. So if 1 John 3 and 4 says sin is the transgression of the law, then he couldn't have somewhat of a clear conscience, could he? Or if he was going against his brother and not loving his brother and not treating his brother or sister right, he couldn't have a clear conscience against man either. But this is what he's saying. I want to have a clear conscience with the Most High and with man. Meaning he want to live in a what? A godly or a good manner. And he doesn't want to have anything against any ill will, any ill feeling against the Most High or against what? Man. And he's letting you know that. Go ahead.
Like you said earlier, he don't want any static.
It's no static at all.
Right.
No static at all. And this is just comparative text, This being so, I myself always strive to have a conscience without offense towards who? The Most High and man. So clearly you can see this is what he's trying to do. Always try to maintain a clear conscience before the Most High and all people. You know, and these people were accusing him of what? Heresy. But he's letting them know that, hey, you know, if you said what I believe is heresy, okay, then that's what I believe. I believe in this. I believe in the Father. I believe in his only begotten Son. I believe in the resurrection of the dead, of the just and the unjust. And he said, what? I got a clear conscience behind it. So before we go back to Ezekiel, let's see what Hamashiach Yahushua said, right? Let's go to John real quick. Chapter 11. And we'll jump down to about verse 20.
Which one?
John chapter 11. And this is the story of Yahushua and Martha and Mary and the brother. And, you know, for those who don't know, go back and read it. I encourage you to. We'll just start it around just do 23. We'll just start at 23.
Khan, the book of John, chapter 11, verse 23. Yahweh said unto her, Thy brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Yahweh said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? She saith unto him, Yea, Master, I believe that thou art the Hamashiach, or Christ, the Son of the Most High, which shall come into the world. When she said, Salakia, when she had so said, she went her way and called Mary, her sister, secretly, saying, The Master is come and calleth for thee.
So they having a conversation right here. Who? I believe it's Hamashiach and Martha, right? Because it says, and she said and went her way and called Mary. So I believe he's speaking with Martha here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 24 says Martha, right? So Hamashiach Yahushua is having a conversation with who? Martha, right? Two sisters. Their brother is dead, right? And basically they're a little upset because he didn't come back when they let him know, right? And he's saying that he is the resurrection. I am the resurrection. To make a claim like that, what does it mean? What does it mean that he is the resurrection? Well, if you go through him, this is how you receive life. This is how you receive that life. This is why he says, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever believeth, Salakia, and whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. So for those right here, like me, I'm alive right now, and whoever watching this may be alive right now. If you believe in Hamashiach Yahushua, he says that you will never die. If you will never die, you will start to think about things differently. If you never die, that means you will always have the same what? Body. You will always have the same body if you never die. Meaning you will always have the same what? Spirit. If you never die. So when you put that mind frame of that you will never die in your head, you start to have a different outlook on the way you look at things in life. At least for me, I can only speak for my opinion. Because I know now that we will never die. You know, I was taught that we die. That's what we're taught. Oh, you die, you know, you die. But really, you never die. As he tried to let the disciples know that he was asleep. That's why in the Bible, it uses a lot of times when it speaks about death, it just says that they are asleep. Right? They went to sleep. And that's why when people die, not all the time, sometimes it's very tragic, but a lot of times it just looks like they're what? Sleep. Their body looks different because of the life force of it left. So it starts to decay and it starts to smell, and the flesh starts to turn a different color. But that's because that life force is gone. But when you look at their face and their eyes are closed and things, it just looks like they're asleep. They look weird.
When you look at
a dead body.
It looks. It's hard to. It's weird to say it because what is lifeless?
Right.
But it does look lifeless. It does look like a shell.
It's a shell.
Like
yeah.
A hardened shell.
Yeah. If you ever spend time in a room with dead bodies, and I know people are gonna be like, "Dang, you spend time in a room with dead bodies," but I'm just saying, I've been in a room where somebody was dead, somebody that was close to me, right? Everybody else had to pretty much leave or go do something else. So I sat in that room and I talked, because a lot of times in the Bible it says that even though that person passed away an hour or 2 or 3 before, they haven't really crossed all the way over yet. They still kind of roaming, right? So you can kind of speak, not saying that they're going to hear you, but you can kind of speak. And who knows, that Rakah, that spirit, it still may be in the room. You don't know. You don't know exactly where it's at. So I just took that time to kind of speak and, talk and things like that. But, it's a very crazy feeling. I can't explain it. Like sitting in a room with dead bodies and like talking to them and seeing them and smelling them. And I'm talking about a fresh dead body, not something that's been dead for 5 or 6 days. But even though that life force has left, just the things in the body, it may still twitch, where you may see something move real quick. It may let out gas, because the body is filled up, and especially if it's in a warm environment. So it's a lot of things that the body can actually do, even though it's dead or the life force is gone. And it's a trip, it's a trip. That's all I could say. Go ahead. You got something?
Yeah, I have a comment just to say that the importance of the water.
The importance of the water? What water?
The water of life.
Oh, the water of life, yeah.
The water of life. When that is taken away from the body, the body becomes hard and stiff.
It does. Really hard.
Very hard.
Stiff and fast.
You can move it.
Yeah.
You can't,
Yeah.
Because it's the water that gives it the life to
be
able to move, to be able to do what it needs to do. Just like with plants.
Right.
You don't have to actually keep a plant in soil. If you take one of these clippings and put it in water,
it'll grow.
It'll grow roots to have that foundation, just like in scriptures, and then you can take it and then you can plant it and it becomes stronger. But what do you have to keep adding to it? Water. Yeah. Because that's what matters the most. So
symbolically, that's how we are, that we need water.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we don't have that water in our lives, what do we become? We become hard
and dried up.
Hard. Well, we become hard because we're not empathetic anymore. We're not compassionate anymore. We don't have that joy. We don't have that love. We don't have all of those things that the Most High has given us to be able to, reciprocate back to our brothers and sisters.
Right.
So without the water, we become dead in that nature.
We become, no, you said it earlier, we become what? Dry.
Yeah, dead, dry in that nature, yeah.
And it says those, where we read earlier, I hope y'all heard that. Could you hear that out?
Somewhat.
Yeah, because that was very good what she said. I just give her overall real quick. Basically, she was saying that we need the water, which is the living water, right? And when a person is dead, they don't have that water anymore, and they dry up and they get hard and they get stiff really fast. Symbolic, like us, right? When you don't have that living water that Hamashiach is giving us, you get cold, you get hard, you become stiff, right? And like she was saying, you get cold-hearted towards people, towards, you know, you're not empathetic, you're not compassionate, you don't love, you become this hard thing, right? Really like death walking around on earth.
You don't encompass the things that the Most High has given us to be able to reciprocate it back to our brothers and sisters.
Correct. So that was a great breakdown of water, living water, and how it supplies us here on the earth and how it gives life, right? And when you don't have that, it basically takes everything from you and you become this dry person. Like she said, you know, you don't have no empathy, you're not loving, you're not compassionate, so many different things, no joy, which are the things that you get from what? The living water, the spirit of the Most High, things of this nature, right? Back to this one, though, 11:25, it says, and he that believeth in me, though he were dead, he shall live. We shall never die. So just keep this in mind for those people who are watching this and may watch it later, that you never die. I know the body, the vessel, as she just spoke about, you know, that shell, it will decay, but you will get that same thing back. We spoke about that in Ezekiel. He says the flesh came upon them. He put the breath of life back in them, right? But I just wanted to establish from Peter to Paul to John to Hamashiach, they all speak about who? A resurrection of what? The just, the unjust, but it's all about who? Israel. This is truly who it's all about, right? So let's jump back real quick. You know why we're here in the New Testament let me just get this one real quick, because this is one of those bangers that people love to go to. Romans 9, while we right here, right? And I just want to kind of read about these promises and things that we hear. You can start from 2 to 5 or 4. We don't need to read all of it, but I just want to go into that.
John, the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 2. That I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises.
Salakia, so all these things right here are promised to the Israelites. Who are Israelites, right? And to whom this what? This pertained to, right? The adoption that people speak about, that pertains to the Israelites. The glory that people speak about, it pertains to the Israelites. Covenants, plural, old and new, that pertains to the Israelites. The giving of the law, we know, pertains to the Israelite because it was given to the children of Israel in the wilderness. And the service of the Most High, right? It pertains to the Israelites. Any service and the promises, all those promises, right? The oath that he took with who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those promises that he made, right? Pertains to who? The Israelites. Read 5.
Verse 5. Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who is over all, the Most High Barak forever.
So why did Hamashiach Yahushai come? Why did he have to come to the earth? Why was he sent here to the earth? It tells you. For who? The fathers. And of whom, as concerning the flesh, what? Hamashiach came. He had to come to do what? Cover those sins of who? The children of Israel, and wipe that slate clean and cover it in the what? The blood, so that they may what? Be saved. It's only through his shedding of blood and the work that he has done beyond the things that we know, even in the spiritual format, in the spiritual realm, all of the work that he has done, that we are covered and are saved. How do we know this? Let's jump real quick. And I know this is a little side note, Revelation chapter 5, real quick, right? 1. Which goes into a little bit, Salaki, which goes into a little bit more detail to kind of show us why he had to come and what it is that he did. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Khan. The book of Revelation, chapter 5, verse 1. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong Malach, or angel, proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? And no man in heaven nor on earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof.
So we know when it says the Lion tribe of Judah, we know that Hamashiach Yahushua comes from the tribe of Judah. When you go back to the book of Isaiah and read chapter 11, we talk about the root of David, right? We've read that, I think, last week, and we read it many other times. He had what? Prevailed to open up the book. All the times you're reading about in this Bible, all of these books, right? Even in Daniel, we read today, it says, you know, to seal up the book, right? And in the book of Exodus, Moses asked to be blotted out the book, right? So it's a lot of books going on. One thing we know is books around, right? And it says to loosen what? The 7 seals. You know, and I'm not even going to go too deep into that because we have 7 seals inside of us, you know, and those are called the 7 what? Chakras, right? And other people might call it 7 what? No, not 7 spirits.
Senses?
Not senses. 7 realms.
Oh, realms?
Yeah, inside of you, right? So you have 7 different things inside of you. Remember, everything that we read is spiritual and symbolic, and it has to do with what? Us, right? Why did Hamashiach, you know, not to go into, like I say, why did Hamashiach die at 33? Well, we have 33 what?
That's symbolic to
vertebrates, right? When it says he went to Golgotha, he went to it's a lot of symbolic things inside of us, inside of our body, that has to do with the scriptures that we're reading. You know, a lot of things that we read. Anyway, I don't want to go off into a rant. So, and it says he had prevailed to open up the book and to loosen the what? 7 seals. So we already spoke about that. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and the midst of the elders, stood a lamb, as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High, sent forth into all the earth.
So he was a lamb. This is why we call him the lamb, right? That was dipped in blood. That's why when he comes back, we're going to jump to another one real quick and read that. That's why when he come back, his vesture or his clothing is going to be dipped in blood, right? Then he got 7 horns, which are what? The horns is just a representation. He not walking around with 7 horns coming out his head, okay? Don't think that. This is not a cartoon. Representations of what? 7 eyes, which are what? The 7 spirits of the Most High sent forth into all the earth. So those eyes are where? All in the earth. When you see birds flying, when you see animals, when you see certain things, those are the eyes of the Most High. He can see through anything, and they show that in movies. Especially what's that show that people used to like to watch with the boy that fell and he was in a wheelchair and he was using a raven to look and see because he couldn't walk no more. Game of Thrones. They use stuff like this in these movies and they show you, that he could see where the raven was and he could see over there and he just kind of zoomed in.
The raven was his eyes.
Yeah, the raven was his eyes. Where you think they get this type of stuff from?
I had a question.
Go ahead, you got a question?
Churches, right?
7 churches, yeah.
You think them horns is for each one of them churches?
Well, 7 spirits that went into them, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know how they say like the trumpet will be sound? You think it's...
I don't know if it's meaning horn like that. I think it's meaning horn like how they try to use like the horn to come out your head, but
I thought it was a horn that can blow like the trumpet.
Let's see. Let's click on it.
I don't know.
I'm gonna click on it and see. And like, what when they use horn right here, the representation of it. Let me see. Did I pass it? Having 7 horns. Let's get it. I hate it when it's in the New Testament because it's in the Greek, but we'll see what it says.
They're probably lying to us.
Yeah. Biblical uses say a horn of animals. Since animals and bulls defend themselves with the horn. So it's speaking like a horn like that. That's what it's saying.
The horn that come out the head?
Yeah. Let's see. A mighty valiant helper, author, deliverance, man, projecting extremely in a shape like a horn, a point. Yeah, so it's in this particular sense right here, it's speaking more of like a horn that you will see come out like an animal's head, like a bull or something like that. So not really speaking metaphorically like the shofar or something like that. Not like that right here. At this particular junction right here, it's not really speaking about that. Go ahead, out.
Con, the book, verse 7. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 4 and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and have redeemed us to the Most High by the blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto our Most High kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth.
Remember, Matthew 5:5 was one of the first things in the scriptures that we read, and it said, the earth shall be given to what? The meek, or the meek shall inherit the earth. Revelations 5:10 says that, and thou, Salakia, and has made us unto what? The Most High, or Allahayam, kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. They will have total power or dominance on the earth. Why? Because the meek shall inherit the earth. But verse 9 says, redeemed us. We was redeemed through what? It says, thy blood. Once you covered in the blood, you have been redeemed, and the Most High doesn't look at you as the individual that you are. He looks at you as his child through his son that shed his blood, and you're covered in his blood, which makes you what? Righteous. This is why it's the gift and the grace. Nothing you can do, nothing you can add. You can't go out there and give 10 Hail Marys and the things like these churches teach you. There's nothing you can do. I know we try to live our best life and we try to do what's the best for the Most High, and we try to live a righteous life, which the Bible tells us. Once you come into the understanding, you shouldn't just stay like you are. You should start trying to work and make progress at being a better individual than what you are or were in the dark, right? But it's still already that you were chosen and you were already covered in the blood before the foundations of the earth, before you even did it. They already know what you're going to do, right? But before we move on out of Revelation, let's get one more real quick. Just speaking about this blood, Revelation 19. Just want to get one more about this blood. The marriage of the Lamb. Listen, into her granted. Let's two. Oh, right here, 11. The coming of a Mashiach. Let's go read that out. Revelation 19 and 11.
Con, the book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
Salakia, stop right there. Remember earlier when it says, when we read in the book of Ezekiel, one of the last things that we read, it says that they came together, the breath of life came into them, right? That spirit of the Most High came into them. One of the last things it said was it was a what? Exceeding great army. Is that not what it said? Is that not what it said? Am I mistaken, or did it say that?
It said it.
It said it, right? So right here in the book of Revelation, when Hamashiach Yahushua is coming back, right? People were resurrected. It says, and I saw the Shemayim, right? The firmament open. He was on a white horse. We know he faithful, and he true, and he righteous. And he judged and did what? He made war. I don't know nobody that goes to war and don't have no army. What army is he going to have? The army that what? We seen in the book of Ezekiel of the resurrection. He has a great army.
It says in verse 14.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
She said it says in verse 14. Go ahead, Khan.
Verse 12. And his eyes were as a flame of fire,
Mm-hmm.
and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
This is why he's called Kings of Kings, because he wears many crowns, right? In representation that he wears what? Many different hats. He's not just doing one thing. He's doing a multitude of things. This is why I said, yes, he came here on earth. He walked the earth. He lived the earth. He taught us. He shed his blood here. But that's what was done in the earth. Imagine the work that had to be done in the spiritual realm, which we have no idea about. We have no idea the work that he had to do on the other side. We only read about what he did when he came here and what he had to go through here. But what about all of the work that's, as they call it, behind stage, right? You only go and you pay to go see the movie that's done, right? When it's at the theater. And you like the movie. You know, it's an hour and 45 minute, 2-hour movie, and it was a good movie. But you don't know the backstory behind it. That it took them 2 years to shoot the movie. You know, all of the work, sweat, blood, tears. You know, that's all I'm trying to say. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They don't call him a high priest for nothing.
God,
you know what I mean?
And he's a high priest in the spiritual realm. He's not a high priest in a fleshly realm.
Right, exactly.
You know, so imagine that work, like you say, that he had to, and he's a priest forever. Forever. That's what I'm saying. Like the work that he did in the spiritual, you know, we don't even know the things that he did. You know, like you said, we were just reading in Revelations 5 when he said, don't cry to John. John was in the spiritual realm. That's how Revelation starts off. I was taken up. Right? So all these things is like visions, and he's in the spirit format. Like, and this Malak is telling him, don't cry. Why? You know, he said, somebody, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, he gonna open it. He gonna take care of it. And that was perfect, like you said, in the spiritual aspect, you know, the order of Melchizedek, him being a high priest forever in the spiritual format is like, You don't even know what that takes. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he said, like it says in the scripture, I believe the verse is, he says, which one of the angels did he ever say, sit at my side or call him my son? You know, so we just give credit where credit is due, and you don't know what's done on the flip side of it, you know. But we're reading here some insight. He's giving us some insight that he's what? He's going to make war when he comes back. A lot of people are waiting on his coming, and people claim all the time, oh, I'm waiting. I can't wait for Jesus to come back. Please, Jesus. Well, do they know he's going to make war when he's coming back? Like, what do people actually think that he's coming back to do?
You know what they think.
Yeah, I know they. What's that thing called?
They watch all these Christian movies and they think that when he come back, he just gonna part the clouds, come down, and be like, "Come on, my people."
What is it? What the rapture? Yeah, that's what they waiting on. The rapture.
It's not gonna be nothing like that. The Bible clearly tells you something totally opposite.
Totally opposite. But that's what they waiting on, the rapture. They think it's gonna be songs and melodies and Skittles, like that Skittle commercial falling from the sky, and it's gonna be rainbows. But it says in the Bible he come to make war. Verse 12.
You want 13 or 12?
We read 12?
Yeah.
Con 13 and 14. Yeah, con.
Verse 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Allah, or the Most High.
And you can see here, this is what I wanted to focus on 13, the water. And he was clothed, the things that he had on, his cloak, whatever he had on at this time, right? It was dipped in what? Blood.
That's to show that he was slain.
Exactly.
And his blood poured through it.
Exactly. She said it's to show that he was slain, and the very clothing that he had on, his blood poured through the clothing. It's trying to show you something here. It's trying to show you something. The resurrection and this goes together. The valley of the dry bones, the resurrection, all of this stuff goes together, as we just read in Revelations 5, because if he couldn't open up the book, he couldn't open up the seals. If he didn't come and shed his blood, if his vesture is not dipped in blood, none of this stuff would happen. None of these things that we were hoping and we put our trust and faith in, the resurrection and, you know, being led to the kingdom and the meek shall inherit the earth, none of these things would have happened. And it says his name is called the Word of the Most High, Yahweh. Why? Why is his name called the Word of the Most High? Because he comes to bring the word of who? The Most High. That's Deuteronomy 18 and 18, where he says, I will put my words in his mouth. A prophet, a brethren like you, when he was speaking to Israel. He reiterates that in the New Testament in the book of John, all throughout the book of John. I am the bread of life. I came down. I am the resurrection. I am the living water. This is why I say that all through the book of John. It's not just in one place. You read the book of John, so many claims that he put right in there all through John. From John chapter 1 all the way to the last chapter, he's going into it. John the Baptist even goes into it in John. You know, hey, I'm not him that was sent. You know, the one that come after me, he's greater. I baptize you with water, but the one that's going to come after me, he's going to baptize you with the Spirit, the fire. When he was asked to baptize him, he said, I'm not worthy to baptize. You should be baptized. He said, no, we have to follow what's written. So it's important that we understand why his name is called the Word of the Most High, is because he brought forth the very word that was given to him. This is why he said, everything that my Father has commanded me or told me, I have what? Relayed it to you. I didn't hide anything. I didn't hold anything back. Everything the Father told me, I'm giving it to you. I came to relay his word. And he did that. So in that he did that, he's able to be called what? The word of Allah. Because he did his job. Kind of like if you do your job at your job and they give you a title or they give you a position. You know, I don't know what they would call you, assistant manager or something. I don't know. But he got the greatest. He was greatly exalted more than anyone else for the work and the will that he did for not only the people, but behind the scenes. And the Most High allowed for him to do those things. And in so, with him doing such a great job, this is how he was exalted. Because of what he did. So the Most High exalted him. Go ahead, out verse 14.
Verse 14. And the armies which were in the heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
Mm-hmm.
And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Allah. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Masters of Masters.
Con. And there's so much in there. 15, 16, but we know that sharp sword is the very word, right? And with it, he's going to do what? Smite the nations. So when people say they waiting on Jesus and these things like that, they don't. Do they know? And I know they're not aware that he's going to what? Smite the nations. What does that mean? Let's get a comparative text so we can see if it says, right there it says strike. We'll do the New Living Translation, right? But I'll leave New King James on the screen. It says, from his mouth came a sharp sword to strike down who? The people. Nation just mean people. He will rule them with the iron rod. Iron.
It's so cute.
Rod, right? Okay. So you waiting on Christ to come back. Do you know this is what he's going to do? He's going to be ruling. He will release a what? Fierce wrath of the Most High, the Almighty. Like juice flowing from a what? Wine press. And that wine press, and this is why I said wine press, because what color is it? Red. It's going to be blood. It's going to be blood. And people say they waiting. So, you know, like he said, they think they waiting. But anyway, I just want to focus on, I think it was 14, 13, when it says about the vesture dipped in blood, right? I don't want to get too far off, but him shedding his blood is what covered us. Let me get one more before we go back to Ezekiel, and then we'll finish up on that. Where I want to go, let's go to Colossians real quick, and then we'll go back to Ezekiel. Colossians chapter 1. It's so much here.
What?
It's so much here. If I read all this, you know, I don't want to drag it. Okay, we'll just start at 19 and we'll read on down. There's so much in there, but you know. Colossians chapter 1, verse 19.
Verse 19. For it pleased the Father that in him should all fullness dwell.
Mm-hmm.
And having made peace through the blood of his cross, by him to reconcile all things unto himself. By him, I say, whether they be things in the earth or things in the heaven, and you that were sometime alienated and your enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath he reconciled.
Now, Salakia, 19, 20, and 21, we can see here, once again, 20, speaking about the blood, right? The Father was pleased with him in verse 19, right? We see that. 20, it says to reconcile all things unto itself. To what? Bring those things back that went astray. 21, it goes into what? That we were alienated and enemies in what? In our minds because of the wicked things that we do. But we still have been what? Reconciled. You just don't know if it's a resurrection of a just or unjust. You still brought, but you just don't know what side you on. Go ahead. 22.
22. And in the body of his flesh, through death, to present you holy and unblameable and unreprovable in his sight.
Correct. I've been speaking about that all day. That once you covered in the blood, you're able to be presented to the Most High through the blood of who? Hamashiach. Because he can present you what? Holy. That's why he's the door. That's why he's the way. That's why he's the resurrection. That's why he's the King of Kings, the Master of Masters, all these different crowns. As it says he wears. All of the work that he's put in. That you can be as filthy as man, the filthiest thing on earth. But when you stand next to him and he in front of the Father, he's dealing with the Father and you with him, you holy. You covered. You covered. The Father don't see you like that. Why? Because of the blood. You should be thankful for that. I am. I can't tell you what you should be, but I'm thankful for that, right? No matter how dirty we are and the things that we do, you can still be holy in the sight of the Father through Hamashiach Yahushua, his son. Go ahead, 23.
Come on, verse 23. If ye continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Paul, am made and minister.
Go ahead.
Who now rejoice in my sufferings for you, and fill up that which is behind the afflictions of Hamashiach in my flesh for his body's sake, which is the church, wherein I am made a minister according to the disposition of the Most High, which is given to me for you, to fulfill the word of the Most High. Even the mystery which had been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints.
Salakia right there. What's been hid? The mystery. We read in Daniel, seal it up. Don't let them know. Don't let them know all of these things that we know now. Imagine, there was no New Testament back then. When Paul walked the earth, when Peter walked the earth, a lot of people didn't know these things. This is why it was so much friction or static, as I said earlier, with who? The brethren, the body. Even the mystery which have been hid from ages. This stuff is a mystery. It's a mystery now to people. Like what she just said, they waiting on Hamashiach, they waiting on Christ, but what are they really waiting on? Do they know? Like she said, no, they waiting on the sky to open and Skittles to fall from the sky and rainbows, and I guess they're gonna have the music on, and what's that? You know, what's them people, the YMCA, and they be out there dancing YMCA. I think I'm talking, and it just be a good old time. I mean, this is what people really think when they watch those movies. Like she said, a lot of Christian, you know, and people just think it's going to be a good time. And it's not. It's going to be a very bad time. Like the Bible speaks about, it's going to be gloom, darkness. He says, I'm coming back to wage to bring what? War. So when people say I'm waiting on it, I can't wait. Even Israelites said, "Oh, I can't wait till we get out of here," and this and that. Man, you don't know. Like, you don't know at the end of the day where you going and where you gonna be, and what your task is, and what's just listen. Take it day by day. Don't rush nothing. Didn't Ezra do that? Why can't we just all? Why couldn't Ezra said? Why couldn't we all just be born at one time on the earth and just live and it be over with? What did the angel tell Ezra? Why are you rushing things? Everything the Most High did is weighed in the balance. When that balance is right, when it comes to that number, then that's when things will move. But until then, no. Which shows that the Most High is very what? Patient. And he says that even in the Bible. That he's very patient, what? That he should lose none of us. But anyway, verse 26, it says, even the mystery which have been hid from ages and from generations, plural, but now is made what? Manifest unto his saints. All praises be to the Most High that it was manifest to his saints. That they were able to bring forth this to us to let it be known to us through his saints. 27.
Verse 27. To whom the Most High would make known what is the riches of glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Hamashiach in you, the hope of glory, whom we preach, warning every man and teaching every man in all wisdom, that we may present every man perfect in Hamashiach Yahushai.
So like in verse 27, did you catch that? Which is Hamashiach in you. Everybody looking for him, and he's already in you. Paul relays that he's in you. This is why he says, don't go out into that field. Don't go over here. Don't go over there. And they say what? Oh, Christ is over here. Hamashiach is over. No, he's where? In you. If you're going to look anywhere, look inside you. The hope and the glory, or the hope of the glory. Salakia. Go ahead.
Verse 29. Whereunto I also labor, striving according to his working, which worketh in me mightily.
Con. Now let's wrap this up and go back to Ezekiel. I know we went a lot of places today, a lot of places, but it was, we wanted to go into it and kind of show not only just here, but all throughout the Bible. And this is not even a lot. Like, we can go to a lot of more different places, but I just wanted to show you how, like, it's speaking about the same thing that it's speaking about here in Ezekiel. Is speaking about the same thing all throughout the Bible, Now, with all that said and done, it's speaking about right here in Ezekiel 37:15, the reunion of who? Judah and Israel. Remember, in the New Testament, let me get that before we read that. Hebrews 8, right? And then we'll jump right back there. Just to speak about this new covenant, which was written really in Jeremiah 31:31, reiterated right here in the New Testament in Hebrews chapter 8, right? Just let him get that where it says verse 8. You can read 7 and 8.
Book of Hebrews chapter 8 verse 7. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the master, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
So when people say new covenant, nowhere in the Bible, right, in the 66 or the 80 or however you want to do it, the 100, you know, for those people that read other books, nowhere in none of those other books does it speak outside of the house of Israel or Judah. Nowhere. I just want to make that very much clear. And we see that here in the New Testament, Hebrews 8:8, right? Somebody might say, well, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. For those that are picking up and those that have read Ezekiel, this should sound very familiar for what we're about to go back into. So just like I was mentioning, even in the New Testament, it's no different than what the Old is saying in regards to the covenant between Israel and the house of Judah.
God. And if you haven't read this, go back and read it. But we're not going to read all this for time's sake because we already almost like 2 or 3 hours in. But I just wanted to show what we're going to read in Ezekiel, speaking about the same stuff here in the New Testament in the book of Hebrews. And I just want you to know who the covenant is to. We went over all these things. If you please go back and rewind it. We showed it in Romans. We showed it in Colossians. We showed it multiple places. But this covenant right here, the new covenant, because I want you to get that. So somebody can say, oh, no, that's a whole nother covenant. No, it's the new covenant. It says new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Now let's go back to Ezekiel where we were. And let's go to verse 15, I believe. This is the reunion of who? Judah and Israel. Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it, for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it, for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions.
Now, for those who may know, all praises. And then there may be some who do not know. Who is Joseph? Right? For those people, before we jump there, let's go piece by piece, right? So you're going to take a stick and you're going to write upon it who? Judah. And for the children of Israel and his what? Companions. Okay? So we're speaking about Judah and the children of Israel. And then it's take another stick, Salakia, and write upon it for who? Joseph. And the stick of what? Ephraim, for all the house of Israel and his companions. So for those people who don't know who Joseph is, Joseph was who? Ephraim. Ephraim's who?
Manasseh.
Ephraim Manasseh's who?
Father.
From the dad. Okay. You just look like you was not sure. You was,
no, I know, but
okay. You look.
I thought you were trying to get at something else.
No. I just want people to know, because a lot of times when, not everybody, but a lot of times when people hear Joseph, they don't really know who Joseph is, right? So I just want to make it established that they come from the line of who? Joseph. So Ephraim and Manasseh, which are two different tribes, right? Still tribes of Israel. But it says, for Joseph, the stick of who? Ephraim. Right? Go ahead. Verse 17. Watch this.
Verse 17. And join them one to another into one stick, and it shall become one in thine hand.
They shall become one. Why? Because they were not split in the beginning. It was not Judah and Israel. It was only who? Israel. So he is restoring Israel back to what it really was from the beginning. For those who know, of course, the split came after who? Solomon, right? And then you have the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, and it was a split. And Judah was Judah, Benjamin, and some of Levi, and all of the other tribes went off and did something different, right? Took into captivity, things like this. But it says that those two will become what? One now. And join them one to another, put them side by side into one stick, and they shall become what? One in thy hand. There will be no more Judah and Israel. It would only be who? Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these?
Mm-hmm.
Say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Allah, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, and even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand.
Con. That's self-explanatory. Everything that I said just a minute ago and what the Most High put through Ezekiel right here to relay, that's the mystery that some people don't understand. But here it is right here. Right? Go ahead.
And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before thine eyes, their eyes. Salakia. Verse 21. And say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Allah, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them in their own land.
Salakia, real quick, through this whole thing, whole lesson, it keeps continuing to tell you that when he does what he does, right? Valley of Dry Bones, resurrection coming, Hamashiach coming, it continually lets us know that he's going to take his people and take them back to where? Their own land. Why? Because like we read in the book of Baruch, chapter 2 earlier, the last verse, I believe was 35, he says he's going to make another everlasting covenant with us that nothing evil or nothing bad will ever happen, and we will be able to dwell there, or the children of Israel will be able to dwell there forever in peace, right? Same thing is saying there in Baruch and so many other places. So like all in the New Testament is saying right here. And these are the mysteries that Paul was speaking about that hadn't been revealed yet, right? They didn't have that understanding. Even though the Most High was giving this information, not all of the people had this understanding. Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 22. Locking. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations.
Mm-hmm.
Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all.
Southern kingdom, northern kingdom, Judah and Israel. No more of that. No more split. I already said that. Go ahead.
Verse 23. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any other transgression. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So they shall be my people, and I will be their Allah.
So once again, here's another promise to us that he will what? Save them out of what? Their dwelling places, wherein they have what? Sin. Where they have sinned. And he will what? Cleanse them. So the way we're cleansed is through who? The Most High. Through who? His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushai, that has covered you in who? The blood. If you believe on him, as he said earlier, we read it in John 11, that you will what? Never die. How will you not never die? Because even though you go to sleep for a period of time, right, you will be resurrected and you will never really be dead, as you will never live again. This is why he says in that very next verse in John 11 that you shall live what? Forever. You won't die, you will live. This is what he tried to explain to all of the people, that if you eat of what? My bread, or you eat of my body, that you shall live forever. but the people didn't understand it. They couldn't comprehend what it was that he was delivering. Like she brought out earlier, the living water, right? When he was talking to the woman at the well, and he asked her for a drink of water, and he said, the water that I give you, you'll never thirst again, right? But the water that you drink, and you're going to get thirsty right away. And she said, well, listen, give me some of that water. Now I know that you are a prophet. Then she started asking questions about, hey, well, when the Messiah comes, he's going to let us know. And he said, I am he. The one that you waiting on, the one that you seeking, I'm him. And then he tested her. Go get your husband.
It's like, yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I might have zoned out on the first part, but if that whole part, that was a woman of the Northern Kingdom.
God.
So what we just read goes in regards to that was a Northern Kingdom woman who was amazed that this man of the Southern Kingdom was speaking to her in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit of history in itself for those who've read it. But again, I just wanted to add that.
No, I'm glad you added that, because that lets it be known right there. And for those who have read it and those who have not read it, please go back and read it. John chapter 4, that there was a separation there, right? There was a separation that even she said, why are you speaking to me? Aren't you a Jew? Right? There were established lines that you don't talk to those people and you don't associate with them. But as our Savior, which shows us something, when he came, what we thought was okay was not okay. Isn't that something? What we thought was okay was not okay. And we see that all throughout the scriptures when they ask them questions. You know, oh, this woman was caught in adultery. You know, hey, we in Moses it says stone her. Well, listen, like he said, listen, the first one that has not sinned in his life, cast a stone. Go ahead. You right. By Moses' law, by the law that was given, if you caught in adultery, you should be put to death. Now, the one that has not sinned in his life, pick up the stone and cast the first one. Well, we know that woman did get stoned, which gave us more insight how we should really look at things. Huh? Was it the woman, or should we look at ourselves to see that no matter how righteous you may think you are you really that righteous? Because each one of those people in that crowd had sin. That's why nobody could cast a stone. Now, the one that could have casted it, which was a Mashiach, did he? No. The very words that he says is, neither do I condemn you. Go, sin no more. He asked her, where are your accusers at? When he stood up, because you know he had stooped down. And when he stood up, he said, where are the men? Where are your accusers? She said, they all left. He said, so nobody accuses you? He said, neither do I. But yes, she had just got caught in adultery. Is that mercy that was extended? You know, it's so many different places. Matthew 15, where the woman, she asked for her daughter to be healed. And he wouldn't even say nothing to her. Called her a dog. And she says, yes, master, I know that I'm a dog. I realize that, master. But even dogs eat from their master's table. What did he tell the woman? Oh, woman, great is your faith. Great is your faith. So he showed us so many things. Yes, the things that he spoke, but what about his actions? You know, what about his actions? A lot of things that he could have did, a lot of things that he could have condemned, a lot of things could have, should have, would have. He didn't do it that way. He didn't do it the way men would do it. He did it the way the Spirit and the Father would do it. Why? Because the Father is merciful. The Father is compassionate. He's long suffering. He's patient. But man, forget about it. They'd have stoned you and threw you over the hill, you know. So, but make a long story short, hopefully this message was edifying for you. That you got some type of understanding of what the valley of the dry bones are, that it has to deal with the resurrection. But all these things, to me, and through the scriptures of what I see, all these things are possible because of our brother Hamashiach Yahushua. Of course, the Father. All praises goes to the Father. But the work that Hamashiach Yahushua put in, I mean, like I said, we don't even know on the other side, man. It's just, you know, so much. But that's all I really got on this. I know you got something that you want to bring out. Well, where you want me to go to?
Actually, there's not much more I can say. The only thing I would like to say is want to give all praise to the Most High. This was a very, very well put together class. The one thing that I would like, or give a recommendation, is for us to continue to read the book of Ezekiel. If we need to jump online and read it together, we're down to do that, if that's what you guys are like. But there's something within the book of Ezekiel that keeps drawing me to keep continuing to make mention of it. Just something within it that just, I don't know, I can't say, but I just recommend you guys just to read the book of Ezekiel in its entirety, please. I know it's a very long book, very, very long, but I think it's like over 3 hours of reading, maybe 2.5, more or less. But I highly recommend the whole entire scriptures, right? The whole entire Bible. But for those, since we're on the topic of Ezekiel, I find it to be highly profitable for you to read into that and just see how the Most High is dealing with us. The warning he gives us in the very beginning, right? Because the Most High had a lot of mercy with us. He gave us warning and let us know, before I do this, this is why. So again, I just would like for you guys to get a chance to read the book in its entirety. Make sure to go back over this class, because this class, as I'm reminiscing over it from the beginning, is a very well put together class. Something I recommend you guys to go back and watch it, go over your notes, because there was a lot of nuggets in here. So for the most part, I just want to give all praise to the Most High in the name of his son, Hamashiach Yahushai, our high priest, right? Our high priest. And for the most part, give it back to you, Hawk.
Khan. I want to touch on something before we get ready to close out real quick. Let me see. And the reason I want to touch on this is because I was speaking to another brother, and he has spoke on this, and this is a lot of times with I don't know if a lot of people see it or know it, so I just want to speak on it, because he was like, you should let people know, because I didn't know that. And I was like, okay. And since we're speaking about the resurrection, I just wanted to throw this in as like a bonus, right? Matthew 22 and 23, and we'll read down.
Khan. The book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 23. The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die, having no children, his brother shall marry his wife, and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were with us 7 brethren, and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother. Likewise, the second also, and the third unto the 7th. And last of all, the woman died also. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her. Verse 29. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Ye do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of Allah. For in the resurrection they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but are as the Malachs or angels of the Most High in the heaven. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have you not read that which was spoken unto you by the Most High, saying, I am the power, or Allah, or the Most High of Abraham, and the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. Most High is not the Most High of the dead, but of the living.
Once again, in all of that, the Most High is the Most High of what? The living, not the dead, but the living. So everybody is still alive, okay? Just to let you know. But what I want to focus on here that me and the brother was talking about that day is about verse, I think it's, let me see, verse 29 and 30, right? You do err not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of the Most High. So they erred because they didn't know what? The scriptures. And on the other hand, they didn't know the power that the Most High has. But here it is here in verse 30. For in the resurrection, they're neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as Malaks of the Most High in heaven, or the Shemayim in Hebrew, right? So a lot of ox, just like that ox I was speaking to, in their mind, for some reason, they think after they're resurrected, that they're going to go and they're going to get married and they're going to have families. And I don't know where they thinking of this stuff. I don't know where they get this from. And you hear Ahchyam out on the streets talking about, oh, in the kingdom, when we in the kingdom, we're going to have 7 wives. And, you know, and you heard that before. Yeah, in the kingdom, we're going to have 7 wives and we're going to be doing this and that. What are you talking about? Didn't he just say in verse 30, for in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. You are a Malak now. Now, the people that are alive on earth, when Hamashiach Yahushai comes, and those people that are righteous, right, that are living on earth, that are Israel, may come into Israel. They may be led into the kingdom, and those people may have wives because they're going to reproduce and things like that. But no person that's resurrected, that's dead, that's, you know, sleep. I'll say sleep, not dead. But no person that's sleep and resurrected, you're not going to have any wife. Okay? Let's make that clear. This is what the scriptures say. I didn't say this. I want you to have a wife in the kingdom. But the scriptures, Hamashiach Yahushai says, when you think like that, you err not knowing the scriptures. That's what it says. For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. Then he gives the explanation why. Why are they not why don't they have marriage, or why are they not given wives? It says, but are as what? Angels of the Most High in heaven. Angels have what? I know in the cartoons and things, it seems like angels don't have nothing to do and they just kind of flying around with wings and they got the little halo on their head and they kind of just lounge around on a cloud all day. But that's not really what angels do. Angels do the will and the work of the Most High. They have tasks to do. This is why you have different angels. Not all angels are the same, or Malaks are the same. I'm only saying angels, so for those who don't know what the word Malak mean, can understand. But you have different angels that have different tasks, different job duties, just like we here on the earth, we're one body, but we have different tasks that we do. We all have, as Paul wrote, Peter wrote, we have different offices, different things that we do for the body. Same thing with the angel. They have different classes, different things that they do for what? The body. For who? The Most High Yahweh. We read that in the Bible when we hear about the angel who? Gabriel. It speaks about him and it says that he's what? What's the one that everybody be naming their kids after? Michael. That he's a what? Archangel. Right? It tells us about what's the other Raphael.
Uriel.
And it tells us even in the book of Tobit that the one that went with him, I think that's Raphael, that he hears the prayers and he takes them to the Most High. And like, that's a job. So you got things to do in the kingdom. Did not he tell Peter, hey, if you do these things, he told the disciples, he said, you're going to be on 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel, right? They're going to be at a high status after they're resurrected like a Malak, and they're going to be doing what? Judging Israel. But from a very high status as a Malak. They're not going to be married. And let me just say this and we'll move forward and end it. I don't understand where that comes from, that when Ahchyam speaking, they think that after they're resurrected, they're going to have wives and be producing children. And I don't understand that. That's like the same thing as the book of Enoch when people say, well, the angels came down and had sex with women and started producing children. What are you talking about? But at the same time, you turn around and tell people don't read the book of Enoch because that's garbage. The angels didn't have sex with women. But then you talking about that you're going to be a Malak and have wives. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You contradict what you're saying. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that out that no, once you're resurrected, this is why it says for in the resurrection, right? Letting you know what it's talking about and what it's speaking about. Then no, you won't have any wives, right? Because you're like a Malak. You won't even have that spirit, or you won't even have that fleshly thing to want to indulge in something like that, because now you are a spirit. I just wanted to let you know. Hopefully that helps the Ak that asked me this question, because like he said, he didn't realize and he didn't know that that was in here. And even so, she just said that she's heard that from Ox too, right? That said, oh, when they go to the kingdom, they're going to have, wives. Now, I know where they're going to go to in the book of, I believe it's Isaiah, where it speaks about, 7 women are going to cling to the man because of basically the tribulation that's on the earth, right? And there's no man on the earth because of the wars and the famines and everything. And women are basically going to be in distress because there's no man on the earth, and there's nobody to help them at all. So in that particular sense, what it's speaking about is the things that are going on earth for those people that are alive, that are still in a human format, that are alive. Yes, 7 women will cling to that one man, but they are human still. They're still alive. It's not speaking about the ones that are resurrected that are like Malaks. It's not speaking about that.
That's sad. That means a lot of men will be perished.
Yeah, a lot of men.
And the women will be alive, but
it's going to be more women alive in those times when we read the Bible, because all of the men are going to go off and they're going to go to war and they're going to go to different things, like they're going to be called upon. Mm-hmm. So it says there'll be a lot of widows, women, young women that are raised up, that get into puberty, but there won't be any man for them to marry. So they won't have husbands and things like that. So the majority of man on earth will perish. They're going to die. And that's because they're going to send them to war. They're going to die in famine and all of the other plagues and things that the Most High is going to send upon man. Right. So yes, there will be more women on the earth in those times. And that's just because they won't be going to war and being slayed like the men were. That's all. So hopefully that clears that up, and I just wanted to, go there for that. Anything you got on that, Art?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. I think that's all I got. Yeah, I think that's all I got. So with that being said, man, we'll get ready to close out there. Let's give all praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Most High Yahweh, the water for this lesson. Hopefully, like I say, it's edifying for those that may watch it now or maybe watching now or watch it later. If you have any questions or you have any insight, something that I may have missed or didn't see, I'm always willing to hear, have an open ear. I don't know everything. I only know what the Spirit allows me to know through the Most High. So if you have any questions, like I say, or you have any insight that I may be overlooking, please email us. Let us know. If you have a topic that you would like for us to go over in greater detail, please email us and let us know. And we just thank you for tuning in, for those that have tuned in and will tune in. And we give praises to the Most High and His Son, Hamashiach Yahushai. And peace and blessings to all you guys, to the four corners of the earth. And keep fighting, keep walking. And don't give up. For like I say, no matter what you're going through, the Most High don't leave you. We lead the Most High. In Proverbs 3 and 5, one of my favorite verses, it says, let me get it. I don't want to misquote it. It says, Proverbs 3 and 5. Let me just share it because it's right here. Be like, why didn't you just put it on the screen? And then we'll close out. Proverbs 3 and 5. It says, trust in Yahweh with all thy heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him. Verse 6, and he shall direct thy path. So no matter what you're going through, no matter where you at, up, down, left, right, just still acknowledge him. I know a lot of times and things we going through and shame and hurt and pain and guilt and whatever, we tend to shy away from the Most High. But he already knew you was going to do that. He already knew whatever it is that you're going through that you was going to do. It don't matter. He says, in all thy ways, acknowledge him and he shall direct thy paths. So just acknowledge him. And we give praises to the Most High for that. Anybody got anything else before we close? Anything you want to bring? No? Okay. You out?
Yeah, before we close out, thank you guys for once again tuning in. And Shabbat Shalawam and happy feast to those that are in the midst of Feast of Booths or Tabernacles. Those that are keeping it right now or will keep it in the future, or maybe those that have kept it already, right? So happy feast, happy Shabbat, and pray everybody's doing well. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Please put the like, subscribe, share this video with those that are, believers or maybe on the verge of becoming believers. And once again, thank you for tuning in. And I pray you guys have a blessed Shabbat, a Barak Shabbat.
Khan. All praises be to the Most High for that. And I just piggyback off of that and just, everything he said, this is, same way how I feel. So, Shabbat Shalom to those keeping the feast, to those that may have kept the feast already, and to those that in the future shall keep the feast of Booth. We encourage that you enjoy it. It's a beautiful time, so just enjoy the time. We don't get this often, so just enjoy the time, share with your family, love one another, and try to do better day by day. As we just read in Proverbs 3 and 6, acknowledge him in all your ways, right? I think that's all we got. Nothing in the chat. So with that, we say Shabbat Shalom and Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
All right. Shalom.